second now. All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. I have an amazing couple on with us tonight. So you guys actually can share now, Kelly, on your platform so people can see that you guys are live here.
Okay.
Yes, for the podcast. Good evening, everybody. Welcome in Clubhouse as you're coming in. Go ahead and let some people know that you're in with us. And we're getting ready to have an amazing session. I have an amazing couple. Kelly and Perry are in the building on tonight. And this is going to
Hello.
be amazing. So right now, we're just spreading the wealth on the platforms, letting people know that we are live. Welcome in. As you're coming in, say hello. Let us know that you are here. And we're excited to have everybody to log in and hang out with us on tonight. It's going to be an amazing, amazing segment. Super excited to have our couple in the building. We're going to run our commercial and we'll be getting ready to start in just 30 seconds. So welcome in, everybody.
Coach P. Coffee Brown and the DFG Publishing House family presents She Chose Him and Screwed Me, 9 Reasons for Her Decision, a brand new anthology project by 9 incredible women. They share with you their reasons as to why they would date one and choose to be married to another. Order your copy today from your favorite author or simply go to www.dfgpublishingtoday.com.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome again to this week's edition of the Hot Seat. I'm your hostess, P. Coffee Brown, here in the great state of Texas by way of Houston. And we are live. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. And we're also live in Clubhouse. And excited to be in the building with you guys on tonight. For this week's edition of the Hot Seat, we have an amazing couple who are here with us tonight, Perry and Kelly. So I'm excited to have them in the building with us tonight. And we're talking about, is divorce a death sentence? Is divorce really a death sentence? So we're going to be chatting it up tonight and talking about this with this amazing, amazing couple. Welcome in, everybody. So welcome in. Thank y'all so much for being here. All of our guests, all of our fans. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. And so definitely make sure you like, you share, and you follow our panelists tonight. You're going to be so glad that you did. They are amazing and doing some awesome, awesome things. So welcome, Kelly and Perry. Welcome in. Y'all are muted. Let me get y'all unmuted so the folks can hear you. Okay,
Yep.
now I can hear you. Now I can hear y'all. Go ahead, Kelly.
All right, good. We're glad to be here. Thanks for having us in this conference.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you guys in the building with us tonight. So, guys, as you're coming in, go ahead and like, spread the wealth, let other people know that we're live here on tonight. So it's super exciting to be in here with everybody tonight. So go ahead and like, spread that wealth, let other people know that you guys are here with us on tonight. It's going to be an amazing segment. And we're here with Kelly and Perry on tonight. Kelly and Perry are a couple that I've known for quite some time now. I met Kelly a few years ago, probably maybe 4 years now, probably, I think. About 4 years now.
That's about right. Yeah.
About 4 years. When I actually first started my show, The Hot Seat, I came across Kelly from a mutual friend, Denise Powell. Denise and I have been friends for 20 plus years. And I got an opportunity to meet Kelly. And then from there, I ended up meeting her husband, Perry, and found out we have a lot of common friends between Atlanta and Houston. And as I began to take the journey with Kelly, getting to know her better, she told me about a book that she was writing called My Three Husbands, right? And so I was like, My Three Husbands? I said, girl, we got to talk about this on the show, honey. What are you talking? My Three Husbands, honey. And so when she shared with me that she wrote a book about My Three Husbands, I was like, girl, that's juicy. So needless to say, fast forward, we're here now, and we have Kelly and Perry in the building with us to talk about it. And come to find out, Perry has also written an amazing publication as well. Is it My Three Wives, Perry?
It is My Three
My
Wives.
Three Wives.
My Three Wives. So, guys, if you haven't guessed it, both of them have been married 3 times before they met each other. So, both of them had 3 dissolved marriages, and then they came across each other's path. So, we want to talk about this. Is divorce really a death sentence? Is it really a death sentence? Does it cause you not to love again? Are you able to really recuperate from a divorce successfully? And are there other opportunities to meet somebody new? Well, obviously, 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 these two have been married 3 times before marrying each other. So that tells you something. That tells you that there are people out there. And I told Kelly, I said, honey, people looking for one person, they can't find one, and y'all done found 3. How this work? So I want you guys to take us on the journey of prior to now. What led to the books? You guys actually writing books about your journey, and how have you defined this marriage as the purposed marriage?
Well, first, we want to thank you for having us, ma'am. It's such a pleasure to be here. I tell you, we have talked about this a while back, so it's good to finally be able to share this story, which we have been doing on our platform as well. But listen, for a long time, I was humiliated in terms of, now I got to tell people I've been married 3 times, But as time went on, I recognized that I was put in this position. I'm not blaming it on anybody but myself, because these are choices that I made. But I truly believe in my heart that, and I know Perry probably feels the same way, that we were put in a position to be able to share our stories, but not only share our stories, hopefully be able to help heal, some of those broken relationships, and really encourage healthy relationships. That's the biggest, if there's no other takeaway, that's the biggest message that we really want to get out there, because we're not necessarily glorifying that we've been married 3 times. I got married at a very young age, at the age of 21, was married almost 20 years, and he'll share his piece as well. But for me, it was really all about just taking all those lessons in the 3 marriages. And the book is really about that big, but we always say it's power packed, but each of my chapters are called love lessons. And I would gladly tell anybody, I did not go through all that for nothing.
Wow.
And so, even though you can sit in a seat of pointing the finger of wasn't my fault, or I didn't, I wasn't the reason this and that happened, or I wasn't the reason for the divorce.
Yeah.
We all take ownership for our choices. And so, like I said, we use our lessons to hopefully be a blessing. And in the title of my book is My 3 Husbands, Key Points to Know Before Saying I Do. Ooh. And Perry's is My 3 Wives, Lessons Learned on Choosing a Mate. I'll pass the mic.
Well, I'm gonna say good evening to everybody. First and foremost, I'm Perry Whaley, and Ms. Coffee, thank you for having us on your show. Now, mine is going to be a little bit more urban. You know what I mean? A little urban, because for me, having 3 wives gave me a lot of points, kind of sort of, from being a man. It gave me some points. Whether they were successful or unsuccessful, it's still like, wow, man, you had 3 wives, So, and not to glorify it or anything to that matter, but being young and being married under the conditions that I was married under are kind of unique, not ordinary ways you would get married. Number one, being married, I was in college, you know what I mean? So I didn't go to college to get married. No, that was not the case. 2, I went to prison for 10 years. So I didn't choose to get married in prison for 10 years. All right. And 3, when I turned 50 years old, I just felt that I was obligated to get married at that time, because, now you done did everything you could do, kind of, and now this is where you should be at 50, stable and, and I thought I had a better understanding of marriage at that time. But from the beginning to now, lessons learned on choosing a mate. That's where I'm at now. I was on the lessons learned on choosing a mate, and that's how me and Kelly came together. I was more mature in my process. If I would have had enough courage, I would have never been in any of those situations. Instead, I kind of fed off of the women, and I was like, well, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I liked them a lot, but being in love and super married, and that was my idea of getting married at those times. No, that wasn't. No.
Wow. So I hear what you're saying. So I have a question. I have a question for you. Were you actually in the process of writing that book when you met Kelly? Were you already in the process of writing it, or was there an encouragement coming from her to say, hey, you need to go ahead and put pen to paper? Because I know Kelly has been writing for quite some time. Kelly, when did your first book come out? Not this book, but the first book you've ever done.
So the first book, I did a book collaboration with the women's business circle that I was a part of. And that book, that's called The Resistance. So it was 13 women who shared their stories of, challenge and triumph. That was the first book. That one came out in 2018. I believe it was 2018. And so, but Perry and I, the big story is for us is that, we were best friends before we even started holding hands. We've been friends for a while, and we end up working together. And he has a nonprofit organization, and I do Women's Empower with my organization, and we end up merging, coming together, hosting events together for a few years. And it's so much more to that story. And feel free to ask whatever you will. But so that's how we connected. But once we were married, just and just sitting around the family room, just talking and chatting about what's next for us. Started talking about our past marriages. And we try not to do that too often because, we have a rule about keeping the baggage at the front door. So, but just really comparing, we were like, we really do have a lot of similarities and a lot of things in common. I said, so you've had 3 wives, I've had 3 husbands. I said, it would really be cool if we, sat down and talked about what that book would look like for you. And just like that, we pulled out a little pen and paper and just started jotting down some points on things that he learned from each of those. And we started from the top, just talking about, what he learned, what were some of his reasons for even getting married, because men have a different perspective than we do as women. He said that he didn't go to college to get married. And a lot of women, back in the day, they used to say they went to college to get their MRS along with their BS, so.
My God.
Yeah.
Hey, Clubhouse, I'm gonna give me a second, Kelly. I'm sorry about that. Clubhouse, I'm gonna go in under the club. I see what's going on. I was looking at the numbers and I was like, what's going on? So I'm going to close this room and I'm gonna reopen under the club, guys. You guys in Clubhouse, everybody on Instagram, welcome in. We are live with this amazing couple, and we are talking about their journey of love, intimacy, and an amazing relationship that they have. And they are doing some amazing things out in the Atlanta area. So we're actually talking to them about their relationships prior to now. So they both did a book called My 3 Wives and My 3 Husbands. And I'm telling you, it is amazing. It is amazing to just sit and listen to you guys. So give me a hot second, y'all. I'm gonna set this up on Clubhouse. Come on in. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. Forgive me, guys. I didn't realize that I hadn't put it under the club. And so when I don't put it under the club, people are like, well, where is coffee at? Yeah, and I have it so set up to where I don't really go live outside of my club. So that's just the Clubhouse thing, child. It's always something with Clubhouse, which is a good thing, which is a really good thing. But I definitely don't want our audience to miss and opportunity to be here with us for tonight, because I want people to hear what you guys are sharing. I love where you are. I love what you've accomplished. I love what you guys have done as a couple. And I just think it's amazing.
Thank
It's
you, ma'am.
just amazing. It really is. It really, really is. Hold on, y'all. I'm buying time, y'all. I'm buying time. I'm multitasking.
Do what you
Okay.
gotta do.
Listen here. And so you guys have another device, right?
We have his cell for Clubhouse set up.
Okay, got it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and restart the room. All right. So sorry about that, everybody in Clubhouse. Please forgive us. We actually opened up in the wrong space. I'm gonna go ahead and
Hold on,
mute
technical.
Terry. I'm gonna mute you out. Please forgive me, Clubhouse. I put the actual room not underneath the club, and so it didn't show up right. So please forgive me for that. Guys, welcome in. We are here with Kelly and Perry talking about their amazing books. And we're also talking about, is divorce a death sentence? And we're having a great conversation with them so far. It has been amazing just to hear them talk and speak. And I am loving, loving, loving having them with us on tonight. So definitely welcome in, everybody. We are talking about something really important that we need to talk about. And that is understanding relationships, understanding marriage. Hey, Linwood, welcome in, everybody. So we're learning some more about Kelly and Perry's story. And I'm really intrigued by this because I'll tell you, Kelly, for the longest time, I was wondering, I was like, man, I always wonder what y'all's story was really like. And it's one of those things where if you know that the two of you have been married 3 times, I know that you guys have faced some challenges with maybe your friends or family saying, why in the heck are y'all doing this again? Why would y'all even go and marry again after being divorced for 3 times? So what do you say to that? What do y'all say to that? What has that been like when you have to face opposition and scrutiny for doing it again? What is your thoughts about that?
Okay, let me first ask, can you hear me okay? Because there was a lot of static on this end.
I hear you well, darling. You coming in good. I heard a little bit of static, but you're coming in good now.
I'm not sure why it's a lot of static on my end, so I'm going to talk and hopefully you won't be in a discussion.
You sound good. You sound good.
Okay. So your question was I'm sorry, repeat the last part of your question.
So how have you guys been able to handle the scrutiny of saying, hey, we're going to get married again after having 3 dissolved marriages?
Okay, so the scrutiny is real.
I can imagine.
The scrutiny is real. But, we also have a lot of people in our lives who love us. A lot of people who have seen us go through the journey. Like I said, I started when I was 21. I got married. And I was married almost 20 years. And I have a core group of what I call them my sisters, who have been in my life since 14, 15 years old. And so they've seen the ups and downs. They've seen the mistakes. They've been there at the moments when they wanted to scream and say, no, don't do it, But they allowed me my space as an adult, or shall I say as a young adult. We were all just kind of still learning. But the scrutiny was real, but it was also what I call stepping stones. We had to learn. It's no different from, we got married, those times, but it's still no different than people having been either in multiple relationships and having bumped their heads. Yes, marriage is a lot more serious. It's a commitment. It's we take our vows, and I take them very seriously. But and the thing is, I like to sum it up where I say, but you don't know my story. Mm-hmm. You don't know my story. And there is a story behind every situation. And for me, I had to resolve within myself. I'm even a certified relationships coach, but I had to find a coach. I had to find a counselor. I had to find a therapist because I needed to understand my why. Just like everybody else have their questions as to why did you get married 3 times? Well, I had to find out why myself. And, there was pain, behind a lot of my decisions. It's a lot of hurt, but I had to also understand my choices. And I'm grateful. I have a strong faith, and I'm grateful because, I have a strong faith to the point where I want to please God, in all my moves. And I felt like I wasn't. I felt like I was disappointing God. I even got married, hoping to please God so that I could be this virtuous woman, there's so many different factors that led up to the why. But I am pretty much, grateful to say that I know my why. And I think it has helped shape my journey. I never saw Perry coming as my husband. He's my best friend. But we like to say that, God truly saved the best for last for us. And we both on this page of this is it. This is a wrap.
So how you talk a lot about the friendship between you and Perry. How long have you guys actually been friends?
We've been friends now going on about 7 years.
Okay. So you guys actually never thought about dating or nothing? You just kind of like was around each other and just working together and all that good stuff?
Because we were married before.
Oh, okay. So both of you were married to somebody else when y'all first crossed paths?
Yes. No.
So wow. He was engaged when I met him. When I met him, he worked at a car dealership. Okay. And he was not my car salesman, but he was at a dealership, and I was going to trade in my car. That's how that started. And I like to tell the story that I heard him before I saw him, and that story pretty much is related to the fact that he has vitiligo. But I don't know, it was something about his energy, something about his voice that just kept drawing me. And I'm like, who is this man? He just has so much energy. And I was truly drawn to it. And by the time I finished with my business of purchasing a car, I asked the lady in finance, I said, who is that guy? That guy with this big booming voice, who's that guy? And she was like, you don't know Perry? You need to meet Perry because, and when you buying a car, you're there almost all day, and so by that time, she and I had conversation about my type of work I was doing and the fact that I was into women's empowerment. So she knew what page I was on, and she immediately said, you need to meet Perry because he does the same stuff that you do.
Wow.
She said, let me go grab him. And when she went to look for him, he was gone for the day. So ironically, I actually did not meet him until a month later when I had to bring the car back for a recall or something. Okay. And I saw him passing through the waiting room, and I basically just said, hey, I need to talk with you. You got a minute? Because I'm pretty outgoing too. And he said, yeah, come on back. Just like a salesman. Yeah, right, come on back. Right. And, that's kind of how we met and got started with, communicating. And it was truly a match. But, I wasn't being a fast girl, but I was single at the time. And I asked him if he was seeing anyone because I was like, I wasn't trying to flirt with him or anything. I just wanted to continue being his friend.
Right. And you wanted to be respectful in that if he was with somebody, you didn't want it to be a challenge for either of you to be able to forge a good, solid friendship. Because that can be challenging when you have two attractive people, they cross paths and they start forging a friendship. It can cause dissension in people's relationships because they're like, well, I don't know about all that friend stuff. Why are you talking to her? Why are you speaking to him? And, people go through that. And I mean, it's warranted because we all have certain insecurities as human beings that we have to deal with. We have to address and we have to deal with. And when we have an attractive person, we don't really want to share them with anybody. It's just true. It's true.
It's true. That's human nature. It's true.
Yeah, it's a natural inclination, and also it's an inclination of protecting your assets. And you want to
that again.
So, you don't want anybody like, hey, this is my asset. I know you, cool, Kathy, but this is my asset, and I don't want to. I just don't.
I know you have probably talked about that subject 100 times, but that's definitely another show for real.
Absolutely. So, guys, hey, welcome in Clubhouse, welcome in Instagram, welcome in Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're on all platforms, and we're hanging out with this amazing couple talking about is divorce a death sentence? So both of these individuals, Kelly and Perry, have both had 3 prior marriages before they actually met each other. And so we're exploring tonight with them live about their journey and how they got to where they are now. And it's really tripping me out because I really love the fact that you guys have been friends for as long as you have. That is amazing, first of all, and that's good because a lot of people, when they see a relationship, they don't know the building blocks that led up to the relationship. They just see a relationship.
True.
And
Yeah.
so they look at it going, oh, you in another relationship? Dang. I mean, my God. And then you have the haters who, I mean, let's keep it a buck. There's people who have said there's nobody left. Where be all the good men and all the good women? And I'm like, well, Kelly and Perry, they didn't have they found them. Obviously, they can't be the only people that found them. You know what I mean? So I want to ask you, Perry. Perry, Kelly mentioned that when you guys first crossed paths, you were engaged to someone at the time, correct?
No, I had a significant other.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And at that time, when I met Kelly, there was the Google eye. But when she asked me, was I in a relationship, I almost said no.
I'm done.
So
you saw that cute face. You saw that cute face and that smile and them dimples and all that stuff, and she got you sprung.
Yeah, I did for a second. And to be honest with you, I was with wife number 2 at that time, but we were divorced.
Oh wow!
We were divorced and still cohabitating a little bit. You know what I mean? Then after that,
wait a minute, Perry, don't skate past that. How you cohabitate a little bit? What that mean?
Well, because we were divorced and we kind of said, look,
y'all had an understanding.
We had an understanding. This side of the house is yours. This side of the house is mine.
I got you.
You just don't bring nobody here. You know.
So y'all were doing the roommate ministries after the marriage.
Yes, because
the roommate, the curly shuffle is what y'all was doing.
Yes.
She said the roommate
ministries, honey, the curly shuffle.
Love it.
And that was wife number 2. So that was wife number 2 at the time.
So so fast forward. So you said that was wife number 2. So you actually married somebody after you and Kelly crossed paths, after y'all started forging your friendship. You'd met someone else and married them.
Yes.
Okay.
And I got to be honest, all right? I was hanging out with some of my female friends, and we were at a kind of like a concert, outside concert, and I had been free for like a year, almost 2 years, right?
She said free.
I was free. I was free for 2 years.
Free from what?
So when I was hanging out with my female friends, I was like, watch me go over here and get this young lady right here. You know, just kind of playing, not trying to getting involved to be married. And then we kind of hung out a little bit, and then, you know, it turned one thing turned into another. We spent a lot of time together, and that's how it happened.
Wow. So that means that last marriage that you had, Perry, it got dissolved pretty quickly then.
Yes.
That was a touch and go situation, basically.
Yes.
I love it. I'm loving y'all.
That's when he said he was 50 and he felt like maybe I should settle down.
Yeah, that's when I was 50 years old.
Listen, and Tiffany says, honey, divorce liberated me to find me. And you know what? That I've heard a lot of people say that. So Kelly, you mentioned something earlier that I want to explore with you. You mentioned that you wanted to honor God. You wanted to honor God. You wanted God to be pleased with your decision making about being married and all that good stuff. So then fast forward, you've had several divorces. Did you struggle in your faith as it pertaining to you saying, well, you know, I'm a believer and I'm saying every time I get married, I believe this is God. And every time there's another divorce. So how did you overcome that internal battle? It had to be an internal battle, especially if you're considering that you are a believer, a devout believer. So there had to be an extremely hard internal battle that you had to address. How did you deal with that? How did you cope with that?
Well, when I was 21, first of all, I'm a PK. So, you know, pastor's kid. And
that even make it worse. That makes it even worse. But go ahead,
okay. I'm just putting it on the table. I was a PK. And so, you know, being in church, raised in the word, you know, all this stuff is already instilled in me. Mm-hmm. So, you know, even remained a virgin until I was 21. Okay. I'm proud of that, but you know, we won't get into that. But sometimes we think we hear from God because it's what we want to hear. You know, and this is part of what I talk about in my first chapter, how it's important. First of all, you gotta know God. You gotta have a real relationship with him so that when you're listening for your answers, you're getting the right answer. You're not getting the Kelly answer. And I feel like I got the Kelly answer and I moved on my own terms. And you know, and trying to do the right thing, you know, I'm hot and heavy at 21. I'm like, okay, I done put this whole sex thing off. And, you know, I thought my mom was strict and, you know, but she really wasn't. But I'm ready to leave the coop and fly the coop and all those things. You know, I had a whole different list of why I needed to marry this person. But at 21, your list looks different than when you're, say, 35. And so as far as my faith goes, I thought I was doing the order of what God had ordained for my life. When that marriage dissolved, I felt justified. I won't go into the details of it all, but you know, there was some abuse, whether we dealing with something, whether it's emotional, physical, whatever it is, sexual, whatever it is, there was some, and I dealt with some stuff. And so the young lady just said to you earlier that divorce liberated her. Well, I was liberated because I wasn't a very happy camper for many, many years. But I thank God for my daughters. And so, you know, sometimes we stay for the kids, you know, we stay with the kids and we think that that's going to be the, you know, the fix it, but it wasn't the fix it. And moving into marriage number 2, I really, I knew that it was best that I go ahead and get a husband because I didn't want to I'm just going to keep it real. I didn't want to turn into a hoe because you got to remember, I was 21 when I lost my virginity and I had only been with my husband and now I'm feeling liberated, you know, but, you know, just keeping it real. You know, I worked for CDC. I worked for the Division of HIV for 10 years out of the 30 years I was there. Right. And I started getting scared, girl. I was getting scared. I'm like, you know, HIV was really big. And, you know, I'm in this, I'm teaching HIV prevention. And I'm like, you know what? I need to get married again. I don't want to be dating out here in these streets. And it's not to say that I was just being so promiscuous, but I had been so used to being with one person that, you know, I thought it was going to be liberating, you know, being able to just date the whole wide world, but I didn't like it. And so I can honestly say for number 2, I did seek God, but again, I was trying to do things Kelly's way. So those answers, I believe, were Kelly's answers, not so much as God's answer. You know, and we can love God with all our heart, but if we don't really truly consecrate ourselves and take the time, see, I wasn't taking my time, but we got to take our time to really hear from God before we make these moves. Yeah. You know, back in the day, some people, you know, our moms and grandmothers, they might have known people for like 3 months and they get married and stay married for 30, 50 years, you know. Sometimes we just make some bad choices. Is all I know.
And you know what?
Blame it on God. And
you know what? That's the scary part. That, you know, hey everybody in Clubhouse, in LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We are actually live in Clubhouse. We're live in Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And I wanted to hop in on Instagram so you guys can be able to hear the discussion that we're having here with our guests, Perry and Kelly. They are the authors of My 3 Husbands and My 3 Wives. They have literally been married 3 times, and then they actually met and married each other after those relationships were dissolved. Fast forward, now they're together. And so they have come on the show with us to talk about their journey from then to now and all the different things that happen as a result of their life experiences. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. And so Kelly, when you say that those were Kelly decisions and that was Kelly's ideas and Kelly's thought processes, what makes this relationship any different from Kelly's decisions before?
Good question. We were friends first. That's the first thing. Friends first. This is the first time I think that he and I both, and I'll let Perry say, how he feels, but this is really the first time that I actually, in the 3 marriages, married someone who was really my true friend first. And when I tell you, it's the absolute most amazing thing. You know how you have seen, since we're social media gurus here, you see the posts where people say, "Oh, today I married my best friend." I would always
you see that all the time. Yeah.
Okay. I would look at those posts and be like, "Oh, I don't know what that looks like." I don't know what that means. That must be really nice. Today, I know exactly what that means.
Wow.
He is truly my best friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when we say best friend, Perry, I want you to answer this because Kelly and I, we go back for a while, so we can kind of talk without you. We can act like we don't even see you. We don't mean nothing bad. We just go way back, so we kind of have forged the friendship. Me and Kelly, we could just chat it up all night. But when we hear your wife say that you guys are best friends, what does that translate into for the viewing audience? What does that really mean?
Well, for me, it's I'm a pretty urban guy. So and what I mean by urban is I never really hung out with my significant others in any other. I didn't really do a lot of time. I didn't spend a lot of time with them. So for me, Kelly being my best friend now is like we know what each other needs, and I kind of respect everything about her, what I mean? And I think before I probably wasn't mature enough to even recognize these things because once again, I was a pretty urban guy. So to have 1 or 2 women at the time, that was kind of normal in my community. You know what I'm saying? So
I know. I understand what you're saying.
And I was very immature. I was mature, but I was immature because I took advantage of these relationships and I didn't value them as I should have. And each and every person that I was married to, I'm not going to talk anything negative about them because it wasn't anything negative. It was first of all, it was my insecurities and it was my my immaturity. Because when I say insecurity is if I would have been strong enough to say early on, nah, this ain't for me, I would have never been in those positions. But instead, I entertained where we were at that time in our lives, in college, in prison, at 50 years old. So there always were circumstances for me to be married without hesitation. You got pregnant, I'm obligated. I'm in prison. You've been my only lifeline to society at 50. Man, you should be mature enough to understand relationships, and really I never took the time to because I was always moving, and doing things my way. And now having a best friend like Kelly, she goes 90% of the places I go, and I'm comfortable with that. I introduce her to all my friends and family. I've never, but she even went to homecoming with me at Virginia State University.
Wow.
So
that must have been a no ladies allowed.
Yeah, no ladies allowed at this, but and when you can have conversation during the pandemic, we wish it would have never ended because we enjoyed each other that much.
Now, Perry, let me tell you something. That's the exact opposite of what we've been hearing.
Yeah.
Welcome in Clubhouse, Dr. Kai Nehemiah, the viewing and listening audience on Instagram. Welcome in everybody, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, guys. If you go to the link in my bio, you will be able to see all of our social media platforms. So if you actually want to see the conversation directly, you can head over to facebook.com. under P Coffee Brown, same as my name on all platforms. You'll be able to see this amazing couple that we're actually interviewing tonight. My 3 husbands, my 3 wives. Is divorce really a death sentence? Obviously not, because they didn't have 3 husbands and 3 wives.
Now it can be. It can be a death sentence.
Now I know, but for you two, it has proven not to be a death sentence. Now you're right. It definitely, the reverse can definitely be true, especially if it's a lot of danger involved or a lot of dysfunction or a lot of unhealthy stuff. Basically, what I hear the two of you saying is that you just didn't have good decision making skills. There wasn't a whole bunch of like catastrophic chaos where, you know, somebody beating the hell out of somebody and my head is chopped on the side of the road and the dog, I'm trying to get the kids out, safety first and all this kind of stuff. So I understand your scenario is significantly different, because usually when you find people that have multiple dissolved marriages, it's because something really catastrophic happened at some kind of point. But I understand your situations. They are different, very different, in that what really happened with you guys is simply this: you just didn't have good decision making skills based on what you've shared. Y'all just didn't understand how to decide. Kelly was sharing how she decided based on her wanting to be obedient as far as sexuality is concerned. And you know, Kelly, for a lot of us, especially, you're talking about people in their 40s, 50s, 60s. We were taught a lot about you got to get married. You just cannot. The Bible say. But what they didn't tell us about the Bible is that both sides of the coin were God's gift. I shared that in our Bible study, Beauty in the Bible, this past weekend. And in the book of Corinthians, Paul said clearly, marriage and singleness are both gifts. And we just haven't been instructed or taught that. They're both
That's
gifts.
right.
Have to
That's
be
exactly right.
Yeah. And so because we haven't been taught that, and then another thing that Perry said that I absolutely love, that's just sitting in the back of my head, he said that he really respected you. That's huge for a man to say. That's huge. Absolutely huge for a guy to say, you know what, I really respected her. There's a rarity that you hear a guy say, I respect her. They say I love her, but I haven't heard a whole lot of guys say that they respect her.
That's true. And I have to say, Coffee, if you don't mind, that I value that, because no matter what anybody says or thinks, because we've been, like I said, we've been friends for, several years. We've done events together, straight platonic friendship. We never looked at each other, never winked at each other, never, none of that. Complete. I have so much admiration for this man. And see, I had the admiration for him as my friend, because I saw this hardworking man who had integrity, who stood by what he said. I just admired him. And so it was easy for me to collaborate with him. And so that's the thing that makes me smile, is that the respect has always been there. He's always had it. I wanted to say this too, real quick. I know we're pushing with the time, but I have to also mention that part of my decision making was based on what I saw growing up. My grandmother had been married a number of times. My grandmother got married when she was like 14, 15 years old. So can you imagine the history and the journey that she went through as a young girl, young woman, and then, on through life? She was married. My grandmother was married at least 5 times.
And 5. There's that generational decision making.
It is. Yes.
Generational decision making. And that affects us. A lot of people, they don't really realize the effect of what we see growing up. And what's interesting, I raised all 3 of my children and got them to adulthood as virgins. And I remember after Will passed away, y'all, I remember going to this therapist, and she said, because of what you want to accomplish, you can't have men at your house ever. Not at all. While you're saying this is something that you want to accomplish, you want to create new generational decisions. And she said to me, like, candidly, you won't be able to have nobody at your house, because guess what? You're getting ready to do something that nobody's done before. And you're going to have to sacrifice something to get what you're after. And when she said that to me, I was like, but what does that have to do? She said, because children go by sight, not by saying.
There it
They
is.
go by sight, not by saying. And so, I had my friend for several years. We ended up dating for like about 6 years, and he was a family guy. And we met in a mutual space because his daughter was playing softball with my daughter. So it was a different kind of scenario. It wasn't one of those scenarios where I just meet you, we go out, we hang out. So it ended up playing out really well. And I remember going back to the therapist and saying, hey, well, I met this guy this way. She said, that's a whole different scenario. It's not like you went and you met him, dating him, and then you tried to present him to your children. And then you tried to say, well, y'all don't do what I'm doing. And he was the same kind of person as I am. And he used to talk to them candidly at the dinner table about staying pure. He used to sit there and talk to them and just say, hey, it's going to be important that y'all do this. And I remember like yesterday how amazing that was. He's still friends. I mean, we're still friends to this day. And he's still somebody that my children really, really respects highly. And every now and then they'll say, well, I'm going to call him because I need to ask him about this and that. And so he's given them some strong life lessons that's been a huge blessing to them. But like you said, it's what you see. And then Perry was talking about what he heard, what he was told, what somebody said to him about, hey, at 50, you need to do this. Or, hey, I've been in prison, so this is what you got to do because I've been in prison. This girl was down for me. I got to marry her, and so on and so forth. So it's just that the power to make good choices was not in your hands when you were younger. Once y'all got older and more mature, you were able to go back and say, hey, something ain't right with this.
Right, because I want to say this, Ms. Kaufman.
Go ahead.
I want to say that I don't want to come on the air acting as if it wasn't a process. Because I want to say this. I like to use this terminology. I think people really get it when I say this. I'm an urban guy. So I was on both sides of the fence, and
we know what that means. We can read between.
But I really want people.
Kelly, I'm from Detroit. I know what urban means.
Right. I really want people to understand that because for men, and I'm always speaking the I term, it was a lot of work for me through pain, through the street life, through all those things that made me this way today. Things were taken away from me. I put myself in awkward positions. Being a man, I when I speak to men now, if I had the courage to say no, when you like a girl, even the sex is good and all these kind of things. And if you have the courage as a man to say, you know what, I'm not ready to be in that space. But most of the time, most guys, even today, they fall into the thing, well, I'm gonna go ahead on and fall with this, as opposed to saying they don't even understand red flags, because I didn't understand red flags and all that until I met Kelly. Not that nobody else in my life ever even talked about that. Her conversation is different. Her views of love and relationship is different, and she didn't allow me to have my way right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like this is what I expect, and at that time I'm mature enough to receive that. And don't get me wrong, all the other women I was with, married, whatever, they were great people. I was the common denominator of immaturity in all of those. If I would have been half of the man I am today, I wouldn't have met my beautiful best friend and wife, Kelly. But I'm glad that I had to go through these trials and tribulations to get to this, because it's special, and I don't want to do anything to make it, to jeopardize it.
And see, you're saying a whole lot. You're saying a whole lot, Perry. A whole lot. And that's good though, because you're saying I'm not willing to jeopardize this. That's important for me. I want y'all to hear what they're saying. Welcome in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Welcome in LinkedIn. Welcome in Clubhouse. We are live with our couple. And they've actually written books called My Three Husbands and My Three Wives. And now they've married each other. Okay. And so we're talking about their journey up to now. And is divorce a death sentence? And their story is really intriguing. So if you have missed any part of it, you'll be able to watch the replay on our social media platforms. You can definitely make sure you're following us. Go to coffee10k.com and click on our social media tab so you can follow us on all platforms. This is amazing. Perry, I love what you're saying. You're saying, I respect her. I'm not willing to forfeit anything to mess this marriage up. I'm just not willing to do it. I am willing to do whatever it takes, whatever needs to be done to make this marriage work. And that's what it's going to take.
And we both feel the same way. It's not
absolutely. Oh, I already know how you feel. We are all the saints know how you feel from tonight.
And with Coffee, I must say it takes a lot of discipline and work on yourself.
Absolutely.
And this is the most important thing is God. God is,
of course.
It's so important. A friend of mine gave me a book called 21 Prayers for over your wife. And when they gave me that, and I actually did it for 21 days, it changed my life. And it gives me a better view of what a relationship looks like. And Kelly has really helped assist that because she's a motivator behind the scenes. She's a motivator in front of the scenes. And it's just like we feed off each other. And we don't, at this point in our careers, in our lives, I would support her as opposed to be in front of her. You know, I'd rather for her to have this than me because I've been there and done this. So I would rather for her to have to get her chance at doing whatever she wants to do.
You know what? You just said something, Perry. You just said something. This is something that's another thing that a lot of people, especially women, you need to understand this very clearly. You want to be with someone that supports who you are. And they're not looking to change you into anybody different. And they're there to support the vision that God has placed in your heart as well. And I tell people all the time, when destiny collides, there'll be no dysfunction. That's your dose of coffee for the day. When destiny collides, there will not be any dysfunction because both people will be on the same beaten path, headed in the same direction to do what God's created them to do. So that's your daily dose of coffee. That's an extra dose. That's some espresso.
That's good stuff.
Following me on all social media platforms because I give the people the information every day. The sons of God, the sons and daughters of Zion. Got to tell y'all. And that's true. Because when destiny collides, there's no such thing as dysfunction because it's destiny. It's purpose in our heart.
No, truly.
Fulfill what God's created us to do together as a unit. And that's powerful. And I commend you for that, Perry, because we don't hear that a lot. We hear a lot of dominating conversations when it comes to relationships about, I had a guy not long ago, Kelly, I started to call you. The Son of God said to me, how can you come into, my vision and what God's created me to do? And I said to him, well, Son of God, I said, well, it sounds like you want an employee and not a partner. And I can't be hired. God bless you. When he said that, I said, you sound like you this ain't no, I started to cuss. I had to catch myself. Kelly, I've been cuss free for several months. Cuss free. And I've been, walking by faith, y'all. By faith and not cussing at nobody's sons and daughters. And almost made me backslide when he said that. What do you mean?
That might have been custom material, but
it was
I'm glad you held the
But as a coach, you gotta get yourself together. So I had to call my coach, like you said earlier, Kelly.
That's right.
I said, I need a coaching session because I feel like I'm about to backslide. And AD said, how can I help? And I told him what the Son of God said. And my coach said, you did the right thing. I said, God blocked it because I can't talk to nobody's son that's gonna ask me like I'm not a child and I'm not gonna be your employee, sir. This is an equal opportunity mission that we own. You think the
But you
Lord
know
been
what,
talking to
Coffee?
you lately? You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on.
I totally feel you. This is where we know we're blessed because in a million gazillion years we never would have seen this coming. But the fact that we married each other, but our missions, our purposes together. Because see, he's been working in the field for many years before Kelly.
He been on the battlefield for the Lord.
Take that back to Ruth, honey.
He's been on the battlefield for the Lord. Well,
okay, he's been on the
battlefield.
I was in the field.
Houston is one of my favorite places.
I was in the field. But one of the things that I remember is him saying when we met and we realized we did similar work, he said, well, in my organization, it's called Kelly Cares. It's a Kelly Cares empowering events where I do purposeful types events and things like that. Right. He said, what can Kelly Cares and Vitiligo Man of Action do? He said, and I remember just thinking, now he said vitiligo. I really don't even see us coming together. I don't know what can we do? You know, because I was a little shallow at the time, not really.
Come on, testify in the church today, daughter.
Okay, I wasn't stretching. But fast forward, it was like the light bulb went off, and he said, "I know." He said, "I want you to head my women's empowerment group for my nonprofit," and it was like, ding. And we launched and did our first women's empowerment brunch together, and it's been beautiful ever since. And we did that as friends. And when I tell you, when you allow God to come in and you continue to work in your mission and your purpose, and he continues to do the same, and you put those things together, child, it was so beautiful.
And I want to say this to the guys from my behalf. We never ever even anticipated sleeping together or anything like that. That was our whole time that we knew from 2015 to now. It was never about sleeping with her or anything. That wasn't the attraction, because for me, I was trying not to make that a thing, because so many times we get caught up in that flow of I'm gonna say that flow of love, and it never reaches where it is now, which is real love. You know, you have that real burnout night and say, I really love her. But you love the moment of what we was at.
Yeah, you love what she did to you.
Yes,
let me get my lip gloss. I need to refresh my lip gloss. Mighty God, listen, you love what the daughter did to you, son.
So I think for me, growing up has been been what it is for me. I finally grew up, and I'm 56 now, and I'm happy as I can ever be. And you know, when I hear people say, man, I don't even have to look. You just look so much different. You know, like I've been saved. You know what I mean? I'm saved.
Don't let me sing a song now. Don't make me pull up a song now. Listen here. But you know what?
It's Our Time to Shine by Kelly Price.
Listen here. Listen, I love it. And I don't want you guys to be deceived into thinking that there's not sexual attraction between the two of them. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is the focus was not sex. He's not saying that I wasn't attracted to her, she wasn't fine to me. He ain't saying that.
No, he wasn't saying that.
No, not that.
Right. We don't want the children of Zion to be deceived into thinking that y'all talking about, what we really wasn't attracted to each other. She was just a wonderful soul. No, he liked what he saw. He liked what he saw. She cute. Kelly cute. I'm just telling y'all.
I made her act first.
You made her what?
I needed her to act first. I didn't want to be the one. I didn't want to be the one. You know, and I gotta tell everybody this. Me and Kelly broke up, right? And we was at Red Lobster somewhere like that. I know I gotta just tell this story. We was at Red Lobster, and this is when I knew I really loved her. We both started crying at Red Lobster, and we couldn't. We stayed until it closed because neither one of us could leave.
Are you serious?
I love, and that's when I knew. That's when I knew that was gonna be my wife, because I ain't never been that emotional about no relationship.
But see,
Wow.
I was letting him go because he was single.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna need you to get all this out your system because you were smelling good the other day. Who you were going to see? Look,
Mighty
you
Jesus.
know. But the truth of the matter is, I just wanted to make sure he was sure. I'm like, nah, you know what? Because I can't go through this again. So I'm gonna release you. And we couldn't even part ways. That night.
And we never left since that day.
Wow. Well, guys, we have come to the top of the hour. It's already 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, 8:00 No, it's 9:00 Central Standard Time,
right?
10:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be signing out of our live streams and just heading in the clubhouse for about 30 more minutes to actually talk about this. Is divorce really a death sentence? They've both had 3 marriages, turned around and married each other. Then they fast forward and talked about their decision making or the lack thereof, the building blocks of how they found each other, how this whole relationship was forged. And now here they are, 8-9 months into their new union, doing well, producing great fruit. They both have an amazing publication. Her 3 husbands, his 3 wives. So it's my 3 husbands, my 3 wives. You guys can grab that publication and check those books out that they've done. Kelly and I are in the same space. We both are authors and publishing and doing all kind of amazing things. And so you definitely want to connect with them. You want to connect with them, hear what they're doing, hear how they're getting it done, and how you and your family can be blessed by it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I'm super proud of the 2 of you. I'm glad that we had the conversation because I'll be honest. I was wondering all this time, and I like to ask couples together. I don't like to ask the girl or the guy. I like to ask everybody at the same time. Why are we doing what we're doing? And I know other inquiring minds wanted to know as well, for sure.
Oh yeah.
So we want to thank you guys for being present with us tonight, taking time out of your schedule to lend us your story. So
thanks for having us.
Absolutely. People can know more about you. We're in a relationship series right now. So we're going to have another couple next week. Won't tell you guys what the topic is going to be or who the couple is going to be, but we're looking at a couple of different couples for next week's segment. And so, guys, stay tuned in. We're heading into season 4 of the Hot Seat. We're back on social media live stream as opposed to just in Clubhouse. We started off on social media live stream. We went in Clubhouse for a while just to forge some new relationships and new partnerships. And now we're back to our original space, which was live streaming and also being in Clubhouse as well. So thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for listening into the conversation for tonight. And so Kelly, Harry, give us some information on how people can connect to the 2 of you. How can they find you? How can they grab those publications to be able to read what you guys have written, My 3 Husbands and My 3 Wives?
Surely and gladly. So you can reach us. We're Facebook, Instagram. My website, however, is kellyreagan.com, and that's RAGIN. So it's kellyreagan.com. You can purchase the books on that website. You can also purchase the books on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, actually on any online publication, any online bookstore that is. You can get either book, My 3 Wives by Kelly Reagan. And I'm saying Reagan because it was before I married. So that's my former name, but kellyreagan.com or Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can get My 3 Wives as well on either of those platforms. And did you want to?
Well, you can make it real easy. Google it. Go to Google, put in My 3 Wives, My 3 Husbands, and it'll go directly to the link, and you can purchase the book there. And I just want to say hello to all my friends out in Houston, Vitiligo community, and around Houston. Hello, and thank y'all for having me.
Yes, and guys, we have some mutual friends here in Houston, and I didn't know that you guys knew Pharrell and Diane Tribbett and all that stuff. I was like, what? I know them. And I just thought that was so awesome just to find out how really, really small the world really, really is.
Yes.
And just to
Tiny.
know, yeah. And so I have friends here who actually have vitiligo as well. And I actually have a couple of very close friends and they've shared their story. So Perry, we might have to have you back with some other people that have faced that experience and get some more information so people can be aware of what happens with vitiligo. It's not really talked about a lot. It still goes under discussed, under acknowledged. And so we would love to have you come back sometime next year and kind of chat it up with us about that and educate people so they'll be aware and they can have some more information on how that affects your life and what happens with it and all that good stuff. So we love to have you back. We got a few community people here. Diane is actually a person that has vitiligo as well. And we can definitely see about having a show about that. I think that would be good for people to be made aware of that for sure.
Nice. Very nice. And congratulations to you too, Coffee. You're doing some amazing work as well. I tell her all the time, she's my twin spirit. It's just unbelievable how much we chime together. But you are the truth. You are the truth. And I just admire you. And I want to just continue to just lift you up and encourage you to keep moving, keep going, because you are doing it and doing it well. So congratulations on your most recent book collaboration. And I'm just really, really proud to see the work that you're doing.
I appreciate you, Dial. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the shout out ministries. I wasn't expecting that. So thank you for that. I appreciate that so much. I'm grateful that you guys have stepped in. We're gonna head into Clubhouse about 30 more minutes, guys, and we'll be out for the night. We got some great leaders on the platform. Dr. Pat and Kelly, Dr. Kai, and Nehemiah are hanging out with us. And of course, everybody in the listening lounge and the VIP section, guys, thanks so much for being here with us. All right, guys, we are out for the night on the live stream, and we're going to be hanging out in Clubhouse for about 30 more minutes. Make sure that you're following this amazing couple. As soon as we log out, they're going to be putting in the comments all the information that they shared during the live for you guys to be able to catch up with them, be able to hang out with them on other platforms. They do some really great things. Kelly is in the coaching space. Of course, you guys already know that I'm a coach, but she's in the coaching space and she's doing some really, really dope things, her and her husband. And so again, Kelly, Perry, thank y'all for being here with us tonight. We appreciate it so much. Your story has really been a beacon of hope for somebody to actually look at themselves and say, you know what? I may have had some situations not to play out so well, but I definitely could be blessed. I really could be blessed again. So yeah, definitely. You put it in the private chat, Kelly. You got to put it in the public one. You put it in the private.
Okay, I'm trying to.
Nobody seeing it but Jesus.
Well, you know what? We're just gonna move on. We've already told them I won't belabor this moment.
Yes. All right, y'all. So
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay. Good night, everybody on the live stream. Thanks so much for tapping in with us. And we're heading over to Clubhouse. Good night, Kelly and Perry. God bless you guys. And thank y'all.
Good night. Thank you. We'll see you in the club.
All right, darling.
Coach Coffee Brown and the DFG Publishing House family presents She Chose Him and Screwed Me, 9 Reasons for Her Decision, a brand new anthology project by 9 incredible women. They share with you their reasons as to why they would date one and choose to be married to another. Order your copy today from your favorite author or simply go to www.dfgpublishingtoday.com.
These different platforms. So thank y'all again so much for being here on the live stream. And we will be seeing you guys again on next week. I said all that and I was on mute. Y'all forgive me because I literally thought that I was talking to y'all. My God. So good night, everybody on the live stream. Make sure you like, share, and follow and connect with us on all social media platforms. And go to coffee10k.com to find out more about how you can partner with us and collaborate. Grace, peace, and blessings be to all of y'all. Good night, everybody.